In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create advanced lookalike audiences. Okay, so what I'm going to discuss is when you need to factor in at the point at which you create a lookalike audience. Okay, and there are some best practices kind of handed down to us from Facebook themselves. Okay, and I'm going to show you that and the circumstances of when you should do this. Okay, and also we're going to create a value-based lookalike audience. Okay, so that's a lifetime value audience. All right, so let me start by saying that a lookalike audience can be built of pretty much any custom audience. Okay, so think of website visitors, anybody that's seen the FAQ pages or your about us pages. It can be done off customer lists, that kind of stuff. Okay, it can be done pretty much off anything. Now, the only thing I would factor into this is build the custom audience of. Let me just refresh this because it doesn't seem to be loading everything I need to see. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so what you want to do is make sure that the audience size is at least 1,000. Okay, that's the kind of tipping point with custom audiences. Now, these customer lists, you're not going to see the audience sizes on these since the kind of data issues that Facebook had earlier this year. They've kind of taken this off. Okay, so it's not that they don't know what the data size, the audience size is. They're just not making it available to us. Okay, and that's across the board. It doesn't matter which account you're using, whether it's agency account, personal account, a different company's account. You're never going to see this. Okay. So that's fine, but what you can do is you can see the actual engagement audiences or customer lists inside of Facebook. Okay, so if you create a saved audience from Instagram, and I'll show you how to do this on another video, then it will actually show you the size of the audience. Okay, so we want to see everything past this. If it says fewer than 1,000, ignore that. Okay, don't use that as your source for your your advanced lookalike audience. Okay, so for example, this RQ ManyChat, that meets our condition, our criteria of the perfect candidate for a lookalike audience. Okay, because it's above 1,000 in size. Okay, now obviously the bigger that you can get, the better it's going to be. Okay, so try and aim for the biggest audiences you can. So some of these are huge and they're going to make excellent lookalike audiences. Okay, so try and make this size as big as possible. Okay, so let's try this one. I think some of these, this is a live account, so some of these have already been created, but I don't think I've done one for this one, so let me try that. So select the audience that you want to use for the lookalike, and then let's try that. Okay, so this one, okay, this is a saved audience, so we're not going to be able to use that. Let's try this engaged audience of anybody who's engaged a post or an ad in the last 365 days. Okay, so that's quite big. It's got 120,000 people in the audience. Okay, so select that, click on create lookalike audience. Okay, now that's the source data, the country you want to target. So this audience was built off the United States, so I'm just going to stick to the United States. Obviously select the country that you want to build it for. Okay, now you can use source data across different countries and go cross-border. Okay, this is not something that I've tested extensively myself because I run ads where the data is gathered. Okay, where the source data is gathered. So that's where I would only run this in the United States, but by all means test it. Right, again, we always go back to the same points: test, right? Test this stuff in your own businesses and your own in your own campaigns. Okay, and then this is where you create the audience size. Okay, so by default it's going to be 1%, and you can go up to 10%. Okay, now just remember that the further up this scale you go, the more dilute the audience is going to be. Okay, which is fine. I mean, that's not a problem, but you have to factor in a bigger source data. Okay, or bigger source audience. Okay, so this one had, I think it was like 120,000 people in the audience size. So that's going to fare better the higher up I go on this scale. Okay, because effectively what Facebook is doing is it is using your source data as a sample to then go out there and find more people that matches this sample, okay? Because Facebook has all the data about us, where we click, what what sites we visit, everything that we could possibly ever want about our behavior inside of Facebook and also external sites, okay? Because Facebook knows about us when we go on other websites that has the Facebook pixel installed, okay? And Facebook can use this to basically create a profile and then find more people like that profile, okay? That's why it's called a lookalike audience, because we're telling it that this is a source, go out there and find me more people like this, okay? So this is the easiest way to do it. If you want more advanced options, you can click on the advanced options and you can make it a bit more kind of complicated. So you could do something like, the audience size so let's do this. So we're gonna have 2, and then so we're gonna do an audience size of 1 to 2 million. Okay. So we're gonna do. In fact, let's just do. I don't think it's gonna let me. So okay. So this is gonna create 2 lookalike audiences, as you can see here. So the first one is lookalike audience 1%, and then it'll do the 1 to 2%. Okay. So once you're ready and you're happy with that, I'm just going to go back to the basic one of this, and I think I've already created a 1% audience, so I'm just going to select a 10% for this example. And when you're happy with that, you selected the right source, you selected the right location, and the audience size, you just click on create audience. Okay. And so once that's done, you will then see where is it? Okay, it's this one here. Okay, so this is the one I've just created. Okay, so you can see it here. It says lookalike audience US 10%, and then it's based off the engaged post or ad 365 days custom audience. Okay, so this will take about 15-20 minutes to update. When you see it, you'll see the audience size, and then it will look something like this. Okay, so 2.2, I think this was 2.15 million. You can see that we've built lots and lots of lookalike audiences. Okay, so that's how you build an advanced lookalike audience. Okay, and just a reminder, when you're using the source data, keep it above 1000 in size. Okay, that's going to make your lookalike audiences a lot more powerful. The bigger, the better. All right. The next thing I want to show you is how to create a value-based lookalike audience. Okay, so you want to click on create audience here, and then select custom audience, and then you want to select customer file. Okay, and then the value-based audience is this one here. It's the customer file with lifetime value. All right, so this is a new one, a new option that Facebook has rolled out for us. Click on this. Okay, and now there are some caveats with this. Okay, you have to there is a disclaimer from Facebook, and you have to agree to it. Okay, so and the disclaimer is this here. So is it original source data? And you have to select which one, how you got this from. Okay, so the options are: is this from customers and partners? Is this directly from customers, or is it from partners? Okay, now you need to be very specific. If you've bought this list from a third party, chances are it's going to be a violation of Facebook terms of service. Okay, and that's going to result in you losing your Facebook account if Facebook finds out. Okay, so just be careful when you're doing this. So I've got a list that's directly from our customers, so I'm going to select the second option. Okay, and I'm going to select the file, so it's this one here. So we've exported customer details, okay, as an example for this video. Click open, and what you want to do is you want to keep it in CSV format. Okay, so if this is a list of email subscribers, if this is buyers from your website or e-commerce store, or if it's anything else that that's information you've gathered as a direct interaction with your customers or your users, subscribers, whatever it is, try and keep it in a .csv format. Okay, so it's going to make your life a lot easier inside of Facebook. When you're happy with this, just give it a name. I'm just going to leave it as it is for now for this example, and then you want to click on next. Okay, now this is the key. Okay, so this bit is going to be very important. Okay, so pause the video, come back to it if you're not sure. So the customer value, you want to select the field or the column or the metric, whatever it is you're measuring inside your customer file, or the file that you've uploaded, you want something that you want the field or the column that has the most variant or variation. Okay, so for me, this is going to be total spent. Okay, because every order value is going to be slightly different. All right, there might be some order values that are the same because they've all bought the same product or service, but generally they're going to be varied. Okay, and that's what you want. You want a variation. You don't want the same thing. You don't want the country or the total number of orders. You want a variation of each column. Okay, now this is small because I'm just using a small sample for this video, but yours will have a lot more data here. Okay, so I'm going to select the total spend. Okay, because I want a variation. I want different data sets that Facebook can use and run with. Okay, so I'm going to click on next when you're happy with that, and yeah, so we're going to select the customer value. Okay, everything else is fine as it is. So let's upload and create this. Okay, so just wait for that to finish, and you can see your file was uploaded. Your new audience has been saved to the audience manager. 50 rows were created successfully. Okay, so that is what you will see once it's done. And then at this point, you can then create a lookalike audience off this. Okay, so you want to create a lookalike audience, and then you want to select the country. Obviously, we want to use United States for this video series, and the source is the customer's export. Okay, and I'm just going to do a 1% for this example. Okay, which is going to create a lookalike audience for the US 1%, and then the reach is going to be about 2.15 million. Okay, let's create the audience. And then once it's done, you will see it populating. Okay, so the customer audience hasn't quite updated yet, which is fine. Don't worry about that too much. And the one that I've created is this one here. Okay, so the one that says lookalike US 1%, that's updating the audience. As I said earlier in this video, you want to give it like 10-15 minutes, and then before you start using this audience in your ads. Okay, so the way I do this is, and something that I recommend is have set aside some time where you're going to create lookalike audiences, custom audiences, and do them all in one batch. Okay, because that's going to save you time. But also, let's say you do it on a Sunday night, right? By Monday morning, all your audiences, the sizes, everything's ready. Okay, and then you can just get on with creating your ads. So my advice is do this in batches. All right, don't do it just like one here, two next day, three, like 2 weeks later. Try and do it all in one batch. Okay, so that's basically it from this video. If you do need any help, just pause this, go back to each of the sections that I've discussed, but it's super easy. Okay, and I'll see you on the next video.